Maybe you've been thinking about quitting social media. So much more free time, no more comparing yourself to others, and just generally, you'd be so much happier. This is not true. 3 years ago, I quit social media and it completely derailed my life. Here are the things that I wish I knew before I quit. When I was in the depths of my social media addiction, I was spending 8 hours or more a day. I wasn't even posting on the platforms anymore. I was just lurking. Eventually, I asked myself a simple question. What am I getting from this? The simple answer is connection. I'm able to see all the people that I know, stay up to date on their lives, and communicate with them. But do I need to spend 8 hours or more a day on this? Probably not. So as an experiment, for 1 week, I deleted all of my social media accounts. Now, it was only supposed to be for a week, but 1 turned into 2, and now here we are 3 years later and I still don't have them. In the beginning, it was fantastic. I had so much more time. So if we sleep for 8 hours, that means our waking day, we have 16 hours. I had just gained back 50% of my day that I was spending wasting it doing absolutely nothing. But after about a week or two, I was hit with an immense boredom at a scale I had never felt before. Now, I didn't want to give up and go back to social media, so I went back to an old friend.
You have to survive 10 minutes with 1,000 spiders to move up. Oh. Release the spiders!
I replaced 8 hours of social media usage with 8 hours of YouTube. It's really easy to trade one addiction for another. If I had known and mapped out both what I was going to do and what I wasn't going to do, I wouldn't have fallen into this trap. Now, wasting your time is bad, but there's something far more sinister. Have you ever showed up to a store that you love and they're out of business? The gates are pulled down, the lights are off during regular business hours? No warning. This is how I left social media. Out of the blue, no warning. I'm sure that there were many people that I would have liked to stay in contact with. See, generally we have 3 types of friends. The first ones being close friends whom we see often and speak one-on-one with regularly. The second group is just your normal friends. These are people who you see semi-regularly, but it's rare that you actually speak one-on-one, and it's usually in a group setting. And the third group is the acquaintances. Now, these are people whom you rarely ever see, but when you do, you have a certain sense of camaraderie. When I deleted my social media, I instantly got rid of most of my friends and acquaintances, and I drastically overestimated how many close friends I had. Now, if I was to do it again, I would go through all of my followers and figure out who I still wanted to talk to. Then I would send them a quick DM saying, hey, I'm leaving social media, but here's my number if you would like to stay in contact. Now, who knows how many of them would have actually reached out, but even if one person did, that effort would have been fruitful. And even bringing one person along can keep you from experiencing that soul-rotting dread of loneliness. See, suddenly all of my invites to events and parties seemed to dry up. And to compound that, I had moved to central New Jersey where there was literally nothing to do. Now, I'm lucky that I did have this small handful of friends, because if I didn't, that would have gotten really dark. But for 2 years after quitting social media, I didn't make a single new friend. And unsurprisingly, I did not talk to a single woman. I felt like I could blame a million things. I'm too shy. This town's not for young people. There's nobody like me here. Only now do I realize something very critical. My inputs versus my desired outputs. I was sitting around expecting these social events to just magically appear. I maybe went to a few events here and there, but I wasn't being proactive. I should have known that I am terrible at reaching out to people. I always feel like I'm bothering them and that they don't want to speak to me. But knowing this, if I had close to 0 inputs, why would I expect anything else than 0 outputs? I should have gotten into the habit of stepping outside of my comfort zone often. Go to as many social settings as possible. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Now, I really lucked out when one day a friend called me and asked if I wanted to move to New York City. There was an apartment in his family, and I could live there basically for the same price as central New Jersey. If this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have learned the last crucial lesson. Within the first few months of living in the city, I realized what a polar difference it makes. I just started aggressively trying things. Workout classes, sports, even dating. Now I had a never-ending list of things to do. And looking back, it's obvious that I was miserable. But it's hard to notice it when you're in the midst of it. Sometimes all you need is a change of environment. And if you can combine that with a plan, then I can't see how quitting social media could make you miserable at all. So now we know how to quit social media without tearing a giant hole in our lives, but you won't be able to properly allocate the new time that you have without leveling up your skill of time management. So check out this video that I made on my VAR strategy for time management.